Thanks for checking out Mornings with Lone Star podcast on irlonestar.com. Don't forget, Mornings with Lone Star is live every weekday on irlonestar.com from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m., covering all things Texas country music and Montgomery County news, with weather and traffic at the top and bottom of every hour. You can call in at any time with a song request at 936-647-3776 or Facebook message us on Facebook or tweet us on Twitter. Mornings with Lone Star would like to say a special thank you to the sponsors of Mornings with Lone Star, our neighbors at Conroe Coffee in downtown Conroe, Catering by All-Star, Michal B. Young, financial representative with Northwestern Mutual in the Woodlands, and the Texas Renaissance Festival in Magnolia, Texas. One of my favorite artists from Corpus Christi, that's Jake Ward. Take My Hand, that's his current single. You're listening to Mornings with Lone Star here at irlonestar.com. It is 9:04. Meet the Candidates has started, and we're in the studio with my co-host Nathan Arizati of Montgomery County Lifestyle. Just to lay down the rules here is we invite the candidates and we get to meet them. I'm very interested in the political ring, but not on the, on the face. I'm more interested in just the politics and more interested in the positions because there's a lot of things up for grabs this voting period in March and early voting in February, and it's always interesting people's perspectives, and especially how they're going to take care of this county, because that's really what this is all about, is maintaining and also improving this county. So we have Jimmy Cox in the studio for let people know right now how you can ask questions and everything. It's best to go on Facebook because we don't really like to accept too many phone calls because some people call and they talk a lot. And so we only have an hour, folks. So if you want to ask a good question, we'll get to it. Go to Facebook, look up Montgomery County Lifestyle, and ask a message to there, or Facebook Lone Star Internet Radio. Lone Star. We're also on Twitter if you prefer 140 characters to ask your question. But Nathan, good morning.
Good morning, Dick. How you doing today?
Man, I'm doing okay. I had some really encrypted texts about the LA Rams, and that was really interesting to me, but apparently they're moving football teams.
Yeah.
And
aren't there 3 teams trying to go to LA?
Yeah, something like that. And I'm like, what about San Antonio? But
the Texans may go there because everybody keeps saying.
I'm surprised we haven't kicked them out yet.
Maybe next year. I think I've heard maybe next year since I was a little bitty kid.
Well, I was thinking what they should do. They should leave Hoyer somewhere, kind of like what they did to Mallet. Was that what they did to Mallet? Mallet just got left behind.
Can we just get a quarterback that everybody in the NFL is envious of and thinks can get you to the Super Bowl?
There's no such thing. Except Tom Brady.
Tom Brady, whatever. He's a pretty boy. Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, but he has a proven track record.
Brett Favre. He might have.
I'm not saying we should get him. No,
no.
I'm not saying we should focus on meet the candidates here. We're not. I don't know anything about football.
Tim Tebow.
No, that'd be awful. That would be.
Jimmy Cox is looking pretty good today.
They're looking pretty good.
He's got his coat on. He's looking kind of dapper. We got to paint that picture because it's radio and they can't see.
To let the audience know, you can visit cox4constable2.com. That's COX, the number 4, constable number 2.com. Or he's on Facebook, Jimmy Cox for Constable Precinct number 2. And we're going to get to know him. Jimmy? Is it Jimmy?
Yes.
Officer Jimmy?
Deputy Jimmy.
Deputy Jimmy. Welcome to the studio. Glad
you're
here. Glad you're here. How you been doing?
Been doing great. Doing wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, this is you're getting in the beginning of the political run, I guess. It's going to heat up probably next week, really, or
we've been going at it pretty hard and heavy for about the last 6 months, but real hard the last 90 days.
When do you get on the corner and swing your signs?
Early voting starts February the 16th through the 26th. I'll be on the corner then.
Okay. Did you get a billboard?
Oh, no, that's not quite in my budget. I do have a lot of signs, have a lot of people helping me, but I'll be out there. My coworkers, my staff will be out there with me.
Do you have one particular voting block or precinct you're going to be at? Are you going to be moving around, moving, shaking? What you going to do?
For early voting, we'll be down here at the DA's building because that's early voting for this district. I think that's where pretty much everybody will be. When it comes time, Precinct 2 has 14 voting boxes.
Wow.
Hopefully on Election Day, I'll have somebody covering every one of those boxes. I'll be hitting the busy ones. Of course, River Plantation, one of the big boxes, Rivershire. I'll be in the Conroe area. I'll try to make all of them, but River Plantation will probably be my big one.
You know what I'm surprised they haven't done is set up little Skype booths at all these voting places, and you don't even have, you can go to one and then broadcast to all of them and just put a big 40-inch TV.
So somebody pulls up their big truck with a 40-inch TV behind it,
and you're there
on the other side of the line.
Yeah,
because you can't cross that line. And then Jimmy's like, "Hey, how you doing? I see you walking across."
Yeah,
the
and you
street.
come ask questions to them.
Ooh, that's interesting.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's something. You know, I'm all about personal touch. But like I said, I'm from Conroe, lived here all my life, so a lot of people know me.
You know, let's get into that real quick, Jimmy, our deputy. Sorry.
That's okay.
And tell me about the history. Where's Jimmy from? When did Jimmy become Deputy Jimmy? And things like that.
I'm from Conroe. I've lived there virtually all my life. A couple of years in Spring, a couple of years in Bryan College Station, a couple of years in Round Rock. Other than that, I've been here.
So Texas.
Conroe. Yeah, so I've never lived anywhere outside of Texas. I was speaking to you earlier, directly across the street from the studio here. My father had a cafe in the 60s, and it catered pretty much. I mean, Conroe was a booming town even back then. When I remember Conroe was starting out at 5,000 population. The town was busy every night. The cafes were open. People were out on the streets. People were going and doing. The Crichton Theater was the biggest thing going in town back then, and everybody, they'd leave the theater, they'd come to my dad's cafe to eat.
Wow.
In, I believe, 1954, 1955, my dad was elected to as state representative for this district for the 54th legislature. Little known fact, just my friends know, actually my picture's hanging up in the rotunda at the state capitol. I was the governor made me a mascot for that for the 54th legislature, so I have a baby picture of me hanging up there. Look about the same, though. I was still fat and bald-headed back then, so it hadn't changed a whole lot.
What you should do, you should submit an updated picture.
I wonder. I'll talk to the governor and see if they might do that. Let me do that. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, he says he's going to talk to the governor. Are y'all like best friends, buddies? You hang out?
I've met the man a couple times. I won't go that far.
Well, you know, let's get on to you're running for Constable Precinct number 2. So going with the timeline, when did you start serving a police force or any type of law enforcement? When did that happen?
April 1995.
April 1995. What were you doing in April 1995?
I was a deputy constable for Billy Colson, Precinct 2 Constable's Office.
Okay, so right here.
Right here. Right. When they built the new building right down the street down here at 130 North Main, I helped move into that new building.
Okay. And so you are right now, you're where are you right now?
Right now I work for Constable Rowdy Hayden over in East Montgomery County over on Highway 59, Precinct 4 Constable's Office.
Okay.
I'm his senior civil deputy over there. A deputy constable is my entire career in law enforcement, going on 21 years. This is what I've done. When I first started out, I worked with, they had what they call down here a Gulf Coast Violent Offenders Task Force. It was made up with from Galveston County, Harris County, Montgomery County, Walker County, surrounding counties.
Interesting.
And we went after the bad people that nobody else wanted to go after. And I worked with them for a while. Previous administration at the Sheriff's Department decided they didn't really want to be associated with that, so Montgomery County pulled out of it. Since then, I've worked traffic. I did a little very brief stint helping with the narcotics people, but predominantly I'm a civil deputy, and that's what I do.
So you know what the constable does, at least.
Oh yes, sir.
Right.
Oh yes, sir. Exactly.
Well, when did you decide to go from your current situation to run for I guess is it the head con? You're just the constable.
The constable.
You're
yes,
just
sir.
the constable.
Yes, sir. I was approached by quite a few people last go around when David Moore ran. David and I have been friends since kids. I wasn't going to just get in and muddy up the water. David's a friend of mine. I tried to help David with his campaign as much as I could. This go around, people came back to me again. They said, we need somebody in there. We need somebody fresh that's going to get in there, that's going to do the job, that we can go in the office. He'll be there. We can see him. We want to see his people on the street. We want to see his people in the neighborhoods. And we think that you're the person to do that. And I considered it briefly, but not real hard. But the more people that came to me and asked me, the more I decided, well, yeah, there is a need, and hopefully I'm the person to fill that. I think I am.
Interesting, because it's always nice to see where people are coming from when it comes down to that. So basically, it was a public outcry in a sense. Even though if it was one person, you could still say it's a public outcry.
Yeah, yes.
But one thing that leading to that is with that momentum of people going, yeah, you need to do this. What immediately came to your mind when you say? Because I imagine in your mind you go, well, all right, day one, I'm the constable. What are my goals? What's going on? What am I going to change? What am I going to maintain?
Well, I'm fortunate in the fact that I've worked at virtually everybody in that office. I've worked with them at one time or another in some capacity in law enforcement, so I know everybody there. I know most all their strong points and their weak points. I think I can go in there. I can make some changes, tweak a few things there. Of course, the first thing I want to do is I want to make that a 24/7 agency. It can be done. It's not that hard. The whole problem is people just got to go to work. There's basically 3 people in that department that's serving civil process, and that's about all that's going on over there. I think from the records that I got through the Open Records Act, I think they wrote 31 traffic tickets for the entire year. The whole department, they made 22 arrests for the entire year.
So how would you compare that? How would you compare that? What do we compare that to? What numbers would that be in precinct 1, precinct 4, or whatever?
Well, it's not
where
fair.
You're at.
It's not fair to compare it to precinct 4, which is where I'm at. We had 780 arrests in precinct 4 as opposed to their 22 arrests. I think precinct 3 had 165 arrests. I think precinct 5 had 55 arrests. I'm not sure what precinct 1 had. Precinct 2 had the least number of arrests. Out of those 31 traffic tickets they had written, one officer wrote 20 of them, and that one officer didn't write those tickets on his county job. He wrote those on an extra job where he's being paid above and beyond his county salary to come out and work an extra job, and that's where from what I was told, that's where all those tickets were generated from.
Yeah, one thing that's interesting to me, the more I learn about a constable and especially the position, is how important the leadership role and what the duties are of the officers, because constables do have kind of like what they were meant for, which is civil. What's the correct way?
Civil process.
Civil process, and then they can do a little bit more depending on the needs of the precinct or the people inside the precinct community, or the citizens. But when we get back, we're going to learn a little bit more about that, because it's kind of neat to see how different precincts handle these kind of situations, especially what does precinct number 2 really need. If you didn't know where precinct number 2 is, that's kind of right there in the smack dab middle of Conroe, right?
It goes all the way around the loop in Conroe. It goes out east to Crockett Martin Road. Mm-hmm. It goes out west to Pine Lake Road, but it only has the south side of 105. The north side of 105, April Sound, and all those, that belongs to Precinct 1 out of Willis. Now, in the last 15 years, the commissioners have actually shrunk Precinct 2 twice. And initially, it went all the way to 149 in Montgomery, and I have my ideas, but for whatever reasons you think that the commissioners have decided to make Precinct 2, they've shrunk it down twice in the last 15 years.
Well, we'll learn more about that when we come back. I'm hanging out with my co-host, Nathan Arizotti.
Hola.
Montgomery County Lifestyles. Talking to Jimmy Cox, who's running for Constable Precinct number 2. We're going to take a quick music break. This song right here is Wade Bowen. Everyone knows who that guy is. This song is called Sun Shines on a Dreamer. We'll be back here with Jimmy Cox, Precinct number 2.
Hi, this is Catering Cody with All-Star Catering Company. We've been catering for Montgomery County since 2005. We are now offering take-home casseroles available for you to pick up Monday through Friday. To learn more, give us a call at 936-228-0440. Send an email to info@cateringbyallstar.com or check us out on Facebook at Catering by All-Star. So come on in and get your dinner tonight and feed your family the simple way with All-Star Catering.
You're listening to Mornings with Lone Star. Meet the candidates happening right now. Nathan Arizotti hanging out in the studio with Montgomery County Lifestyle, and of course Jimmy Cox, who's running for Constable Precinct number 2. If you've got a question for Jimmy, W to Jimmy, you can go to Facebook. We got Montgomery County Lifestyle and also Lone Star Internet Radio. Welcome
Facebook
back.
Page.
Facebook page.
Facebook.
So Nathan and Jimmy, what's next? I'm just kidding, because I was on that lettuce out. I almost got you. So one thing that, like I said previously, it's really interesting to me to see the different precincts in Montgomery County and what exactly the precinct does, especially under the leadership role of the constable. And that's what you're voting for, folks. You're voting for the constable, who's going to be the leader in that precinct, who kind of sets what's going to be happening day to day, and also, I guess, for the whole term. The whole term for the constable is what, 4 years?
4 years.
And so with the duties of the constable's office, from what I understand, is your primary duty is the civil, you said it.
Process.
Civil process, which includes the connection with the court system here in Montgomery County. So you do a lot of work every day with the courts and what they tell you to do with this, civil processing. Then there's options almost, depending on the needs of the community, foreseen by the constable. Correct?
Correct.
You just tell me if I'm wrong.
Well,
'cause I'm understanding this position because it's so weird to me that the flexibility that's given to this office, because the civil processing only happens at a certain time, right? You can't just do it 24/7.
Correct.
So when you say you want to make it 24/7, I'm kind of like, well, what does that mean? Because it sounds like I don't want to be served at 1 o'clock in the morning, but I don't think that's what you meant. So.
No, it's not. Now, the other aspect is that we are mandated by law that we have to provide securities for the justice courts. So
When they're operating.
So we supply the bailiffs for the JP court in our precinct.
Okay.
So we have to have a bailiff for that.
So when you're looking at, or when we are, like it's the precinct number 2, how many do you know? I don't know if you know this, but how many right now are working with the constable's office in precinct number 2?
How many deputies total?
Or just people? Because are bailiffs deputies?
Yes, you have to be.
I don't know.
You have to be a certified peace officer to be a bailiff.
Okay.
Yeah.
So those people, the number of people working for precinct number 2 are including the bailiffs.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, they to the best of my knowledge, they only have one dedicated bailiff. That was a position that the county commissioners gave them. He was hired as a bailiff. When the court is not in session, then he performs other duties for the constable's office.
Now, does this include all the other constables' offices? Are they bailiffs too?
Each constable's office, to the best of my knowledge,
we don't just have one bailiff.
Oh, no.
All right,
well, see, now the sheriff's department handles the bailiffs for the courthouse, for the district courts and county courts.
All right, so where is this one bailiff working right now?
For the justice court, like that would be for Judge Spikes.
Justice of the Peace Spikes, J.P. Wayne Mack.
Where is that?
Which one?
Where are the offices located?
They're located within their precincts. Judge Spike's office is located over on 1st Street, over by the jail complex. They built him a beautiful new building over there.
Okay.
Really nice place. Judge Metz, who I work with, he has it used to be a county library. They converted it. He has probably one of the busiest courts going around. He has, at last count, like 15 ladies that work for him, clerks in his office. On arraignment day, which is, I believe, the first Thursday of every month, it is nothing for them to hear 200, 300 cases. So it's a very, very busy court. Judge Mack, he's unique. He has 2 courtrooms. He has one in Willis. He has one in Montgomery because that precinct is so large. It's not. Population is not that large. It's just spread out so far that the county gave him 2 separate courtrooms to as a convenience to the people that live there.
He doesn't want to make you drive. We're making him drive.
That's right. I'm not sure. I don't. Judge Masden's courtroom is in the new building that they built for David Hill.
We're quizzing you right now.
Okay. But for David Hill and
for other positions.
I'm sorry, Precinct 3. I'm not sure.
Well, no, I appreciate you
Judge
giving me
Conley's
that information. I really appreciate it.
His is right there next to, in the same building with Ron Gables.
Is it? Okay.
I think there's a tax assessor, collector, district clerk type little satellite office.
Well, that's what we have. We have the East Montgomery County Courthouse Annex. We have the tax assessor, collector. We have a county clerk's office that's open 2 days a week, I believe. Sheriff's Department, DPS, and us are in that building. And then what used to be the old library behind that now has been reconfigured, and that's Judge Metz's office.
Since you're the senior deputy,
yes, sir, you
no longer have to be a bailiff?
I fill in whenever's necessary. If they're busy, if they need a bailiff, so cool. I'll go over and help bailiff. I do whatever the boss asks me to do.
So a little bit. Let's get back to the original idea with the constable's office having the flexibility between the silver processing and then the options, depending on what the constable does. Can you give me some examples, not particular to this county, but like what options do a constable have to put in their system for the community?
You look at Harris County Precinct 4 Constable's office; it's bigger than our sheriff's department here. They have their own investigators. They have their own detectives.
Well, that's just because they keep absorbing things.
It's because they're that big. They're that big. Up here, if you go up to Precinct 1, they have the Lake Patrol. They have a dive team. They handle all the mental health warrants for the county. They have specially trained officers that do nothing but mental health and do mental health warrants and transport and handle mental health patients. They handle the school police for one of the school districts up there.
Because what's interesting to me about this whole process is you have your duties, but then it's the saying like, all right, what does this community need? Oh, we need help transporting mental health patients between here, A and B. And that's just something that someone requests for, or is that a constable just saying, that's what I think we need? Because how does that go about? Because to me, like we're in precinct number 2, and that's what you're running for. What does precinct number 2 need? So that's a 2-part question, I guess. That's it.
Precinct 2, best I can tell, they don't provide anything above and beyond civil process and bailiffs to the courts. They do have a mounted posse that's made up of civilian volunteers that help. I believe they work sometimes maybe with the search and rescue people. They during the holiday season, they're a presence in shopping centers and malls and things like that. You'll see them at the Cajun Catfish Festival. You'll see them at the cook-offs. They're a presence and they're an assistance and they're a great help to the constable's office. These are civilians that give of their own time, their own money, their horses, their tack. They buy the clothes and they come out and donate their time to help the people of the precinct. They're a great asset.
Bless you. No, because what's interesting is the dynamic between precinct number 1, who we had Billy Ballard running for that, and what's really great is mctx.org has a lot of information or empty information, and you see the difference between Constable Precinct number 1 webpage and you go to Constable Precinct number 2. And Precinct 1 has a lot of different divisions or areas, but then when you go to Constable Precinct number 2, there's just nothing. And I'm not saying you're not doing anything. That's not what I mean at all, but it's just kind of, where do you see room to grow? Because certainly there seems like there's room to grow or more things you can offer the Precinct 2 citizens and things like that.
There's a lot that can be offered to them. They have actually, Precinct 2 they do have a small access to the lake. With that being done, then they could actually have a lake patrol because their access to the lake. I was approached at one time. I'm a certified diver. We did it through the sheriff's department here. The sheriff's department put on a dive class, and a lot of us went down and got certified. I was approached to be on the dive team. Before I worked at Precinct 2 before.
So did you find the drone?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry, I can't bring that up.
No, that's great. No, but they've been approached to be on the dive team. When I was here, I was a first responder. I worked with the fire department and for accident scenes and crashes and stuff like that. There's a lot more that can be done.
So on the list, we have an option, maybe an option. You can fight for an option, I guess, in a sense, because you bring it to the commissioner, correct?
Correct.
Like, this is what we got to do. So we have access to the lake. What else have we got? What are options?
I'd have to check into it again. At one time when I was there was a Homeland Security grant where they wanted to put 6 officers at the airport for security for the airport, and that was brought up to Precinct 2, and the current administration said they didn't want the headache. They were going to fund
with the expansion of the airport.
5 officers, a supervisor, an office, and their vehicles to provide security for the airport because of how it's growing.
In a situation like that, because that sounds like an outside source comes to the city or the county or whatever, saying this is what we need help. Who wants it? But is it because it's in precinct number 2 they get first dibs? Is that really how that works? I mean,
pretty much it's in their purview. It falls within their jurisdiction. It's a grant. It's a federal grant. It's there.
Because the only issue I see with that is, say you do it and the grant goes away, you're stuck with employing these officers, or you got to fire them, right? Am I understanding that's how the grant process works?
Well, it's something that have to be. Yeah, you'd have to look at the lifespan of the grant. Right now, I don't see that going away. If nothing else,
well, with the expense of the airport,
I see it growing.
Yes,
I see it growing. It's a tough deal to do something like that. It's like the security people you find at nuclear reactors. They may spend their entire career there and never have a call out, but it's hard to keep that mental sharpness and keep your physical in shape and everything for what may have to happen. So it takes a special kind of person to do something like that, to handle that there. Precinct 2, they have a narcotics dog. They have an officer there that gets paid $6,000.
Who's in charge of this website? We're gonna find this out.
That they got this dog. They got an officer there that gets paid $500 a month stipend.
Is it not corn dog? The corn dog?
And this dog has never made a call out. Never made a call. Matter of fact, if you go over there next door right now, I promise you it's not there. It very seldom ever even brought to work. I mean, the dog. It did not cost the county anything. From what I understand, it was a donated dog as a rescue dog, but is that good stewardship of the taxpayers' money when you're paying a guy $6,000 a year to have this dog and provide this dog, and then you never bring it to work and it's never used? when you're getting phone calls, we need a drug dog. We need a dog here. We need a dog here. Didn't bring it to work. It's not here. But then again, it's not, from what I understand, it's not current on its training or certifications.
That was what I was going to ask. If it hadn't been used, then would it have lost its? You have
to keep a record of the current trainings, because if you do get called into court off of a drug case, then you have to present those records showing what this dog has been trained with this handler, and showing a record of training that on this day it was trained with this narcotic, on this record day it was trained with this narcotic under this condition, and it found the drugs within this time frame, and it's just,
Well, when we get back from the music break, Deputy Jimmy, I want to kind of expand more. This is going to be the closing of the Meet the Candidates. So we're going to come back and learn more about what your position is, what you plan to do with those 4 years. And especially one thing I always like is what's next after those 4 years, because are you a long-term planner, or you just wake up every day and don't know what you're doing? I doubt that's what you do. But I'm hanging out with Nathan Arizotti of Montgomery County Lifestyle. Check us out on Facebook, Montgomery County Lifestyle, and then also Lone Star Net Radio. Message us if you have a question for Deputy Jimmy. And then when we come back, we're going to learn more about Constable Precinct Number 2, and especially what you're going to do. So stick around, folks. We got great music coming up. If anyone likes Carrie Underwood, I don't particularly like it, but people like me playing it. So here's her new one. The song's called Smoke Break. You're listening to Lone Star Net Radio here on IRLoneStar.com, Montgomery County's community radio station.
Imagine a place where you can sip on Italian coffee and have a sandwich, followed by a fabulous, delectable pastry. We invite you to stop by Conroe Coffee to experience old world charm. Conroe Coffee is located next to the historic Creighton Theater in downtown Conroe. We are open 7 days a week. Please check our website for business hours at conroecoffee.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Have a caffeinated day.
Behind every victory is someone who helped make it happen. Call them mentors, coaches, or even mom or dad. At Northwestern Mutual, we call them partners, the financial professionals that can help you tap into strengths you might not even know you have, and guide you where you want to be financially and personally, because no one wins alone. Start building financial security with Northwestern Mutual. Contact Michael Young today. Visit michael.b.young@nm.com. You and Northwestern Mutual, stronger together. The Northwestern Mutual Life Insurance Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
All right, Fools of the Trade right there. My place in life. This is Dick Schissler, your Morning's Lone Star host, doing Meet the Candidates with Nathan Arizotti, co-host of the special segment. We're here every weekday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. talking politics, coming up leading up to the early voting, and also with the what voting? Yeah, you point to me. Yes, sir.
I want to point out that we do have a guest coming in Friday. Not going to take away from you, sir.
Well, we got to let people
promote that. No, but tomorrow we still have an opening for a current candidate that's unopposed, or an elected official who's not really running this race that wants to come in and talk about state of affairs and state of the union.
I think we should just open it to anybody who wants to talk about politics.
Well, it's also for groups or organizations that want to do that.
I'm pretty sure there's a guy asleep in the alleyway behind here. We can get in here.
Lord, there are some crazies out there.
I like it.
Holy Moses, let me tell you what.
That's 9 o'clock every weekday leading up through to March for the voting. We're going to try to get as much information out there about voting, who you're voting for. But right now, today, for ours, we had Jimmy Cox, who's running for Constable Precinct Number 2. We're learning more about where the position and leadership role of Constable Precincts have in this state and also in the country, because I think constables are everywhere, right? All the way across the United States.
Yes.
Even in Hawaii?
They are. They carry different roles in different states.
See, that's what's so crazy to me about this constable. Like, you have a duty, you have a purpose, but then you can kind of grow from that purpose and do whatever the surrounding area kind of wants you to do, or what you can do, or
what the populace and what the commissioner's court will let you do. There's a lot of counties in Montgomery and Texas that are constables. It's a one-man agency. It's like virtually $1 a year job, and because there's not much to do. It just so happens down here in this area.
But it needs to be done.
It's got to be done.
It's interesting.
It's a position that's got to be there. The way we're growing down here, the constables departments are just growing leaps and bounds because there's so much that we can provide for people that we don't have quite the constraints as the local PDs and the sheriff's departments. Precinct 2 encompasses the bulk of the city of Conroe, but it also goes out into the county. So you might have something that you need somebody where you'd have to call a sheriff's deputy, but then it carries over into the city for whatever reason, another party that suits in the city or something like that, and you're going to call Conroe PD. You can get a hold of a constable. They can handle all of it because it's all in their jurisdiction.
So you're the jack of all trades? in a sense?
Pretty much. We cover everything. Over at Precinct 4, we have livestock officers. We have a swiftwater rescue team. We have our own SRT team that we work with other counties, other agencies all over the area.
So is everyone in great shape? Sounds like I'm just kidding. I'm just getting everyone a hard time. That's one of the staples with the officers. And,
it goes with the job.
We're gonna end it there.
Okay.
It is 9:46 though. But one thing I want to do is give you the opportunity to give your platform. So more of you think about the soapbox or whatever you want to imagine yourself, but to give you some time to talk about why I should vote for Jimmy Cox for Constable Precinct number 2. But all I ask is don't curse. And don't give our phone number out, and people keep calling us upset. So that's all I really care about.
It's not a problem. Not a problem. What I see, this needs to be a 24/7 agency. They've got more than enough people there to do that. Granted, our primary duties are civil process and the security of the justice courts, which is not a 24/7 job. Civil process can be served any day of the week except for Sunday and state and federal holidays. There are a few instances where you can serve papers on Sundays. We don't do it as a courtesy. My people, as a rule, don't go out past about 8 or 9 o'clock at night serving civil process unless it's somebody that works shift work or somebody requests an appointment after that time. We try not to go there before 8 o'clock in the morning unless, again, they request us to come earlier or we're having trouble catching these people. We try to work within their parameters without basically, like I said, these people are all voters. Are you going to go pound on a voter's door at 3 o'clock in the morning and wake him up just to serve him a little paper that that may not mean anything to him anyway? But it's your job that you got to do it. Try to stick to the normal hours. Don't irritate the people. I want to bring in a traffic enforcement people. You got to stop. There's a lot of criminals on the street, and you see things and. I work civil. That's my forte. That's what I've done for years. I don't work traffic anymore, but you still see traffic things that is going to amount to something. That if you stop this person, something's not right. They're in the wrong place at the wrong time. They're cruising the subdivisions. They're looking for something. You got a traffic enforcement division out there. What we do over at Precinct 2, if a civil person sees something like that, we call a traffic guy. He comes in. He takes care of it. He takes these people. He does whatever is necessary. A lot of times we get a lot of drug busts, a lot of drugs off the streets doing that. We arrest a lot of people with outstanding warrants.
I see a lot of that on Rowdy's Facebook page.
We do.
You guys grab a lot of bad guys over there doing that.
We stay busy all the time. We have a booking room there in our office, got 2 holding cells, and there's virtually, if you come by our office, there'll be somebody in a holding cell, usually because there's paperwork being done. We get people off the street, and that's not Montgomery. That's Montgomery County. There's people here that can be taken off the street in Precinct 2 just as well, but you got to have somebody out there to do it. Right now, Precinct 2 has nobody working traffic. They have nobody working warrants. They were given a warrant officer years ago by the commissioners. That job evolved into something else where that officer no longer does warrants any longer, so they don't have anybody out there trying to affect the warrants that's issued through the JP court to put anybody in jail. They don't have anybody out there working. When I was working Precinct 2, we worked school zones every morning. I mean, great. You got school police, but we were out there as well to help the school police. We were working radar. One of our constituents would call in from a subdivision. Hey, I got people just running up down my street 90 nothing every day. We had traffic people that we could send out there, work radar, try to curtail that, get everything back in line. Even environmental, a lot of stuff. Hey, this guy, he's burning trash in his yard, or somebody's over here, they're dumping tires out in the ditch in front of my house. We had people that took care of all that stuff, and it's a need that needs to be fulfilled. On the news yesterday, Precinct 2 stated that they figured that it was a waste of money to go get officers to make you safer in your home. I don't see where your life or your family's life, your children's life, could it possibly be a waste of money. If you get people out there working, there's a thing called asset forfeiture. Precinct 4 makes a lot of their money off of asset forfeiture. The county pays our salaries, but our computers, our body armor, our ammunition, a lot of that stuff is paid for with asset forfeiture money, which frees up money for salaries. So it's not costing the county any more money. In that aspect, we're self-sufficient. We pay for all the ancillary fees so that all our budget money can go to salaries. Same thing can happen at Precinct 2. It's out there. There's assets to be seized. There's money to be made so that you can put more of that budget towards salaries to get people out there on the street to make it safer in your homes and in your businesses.
Yeah, I see that being a hot topic politically in the future because there is some room for abuse there.
Oh, I went through I went through local businesses here about a month ago, and when's the last time you saw a constable in your office or in your store? I didn't know they could do that. Yes, they can.
It is 8:51. We're going to be closing this up. This is Jimmy Cox right there, running for Constable Precinct number 2. Find him online at Cox for Constable 2. That's COX4 number 4 Constable number 2.com, or on Facebook, Jimmy Cox for Constable Precinct number 2. Thank you so much for coming in and sharing this information. It has been enlightening, that's for sure. If you just now tune in right now, if you missed it, we're going to be posting the podcast on our SoundCloud and also YouTube as soon as we can. To keep an eye on our Facebook and also online at irlonestar.com. Nathan, always a pleasure to see your bright, smiling face. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Coming up next on Lone Star Internet Radio is the Cindy Cochran Show. She's going to have special music artist Joe Bailey with Michael Player. And then I think they're going to be having other things going on. So stick around. It's at 10 a.m. We got great music coming up between now and then. Taking song requests on Twitter and Facebook. Here's some Stoney LaRue. The song is called Us Time.
Thank you for checking out a podcast on Lone Star Internet Radio. Lone Star Internet Radio is Montgomery County's community radio station, broadcasting from the heart of Conroe, Texas. If you are interested in sponsoring a program for Lone Star Internet Radio, just visit us online at irlonestar.com or message us on Facebook. We are always taking song requests on Twitter, and if you are interested in getting involved with the station, by either hosting your own show or if you want to be a DJ, just contact Dick at irlonestar.com. Lone Star Internet Radio, Montgomery County's community radio station.